Hello and welcome in all. Yay! It looks like, thankfully, all my levels are at pretty much the right place. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Welcome into day 2 of IAE's finale for 2955, or 2025 in normal speak. Welcome into Jammy Bugger, to Rusty Pigeon, Space Saga, John Chavez, to Blamsmiths, to Karakor, Citizen Ninja Kruka, Ashra, and everyone else that is in chat at the moment. Good to see you. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what happens today with the Warbonds. If you're not already aware, if you haven't had a look, hello Stunner, hello Black Mage. Um, yeah, yesterday's Warbonds, a little bit of a surprise. So let's jump straight over and take a look at precisely what I'm talking about, just in case you haven't had a look yourself. So, the Ironclad then was the shock CCU of yesterday. And the reason it was a shock CCU is because not only was it a significant saving of $40, we also know that that ship is going to go up in price once it's released to flyable. So, I wouldn't mind betting that when this ship goes live, it's going to be somewhere around the $500 mark. I would say that's a kind of baseline minimum for it. It might be up slightly less, but I'm expecting 500 for it, given its popularity and the manufacturer and the success that we saw Drake have this time around. So yeah, what I'm expecting to see with it now is the beautiful thing about that is if you take a $10 CCU from one of the $400 ships up to the Ironclad, which is its Warbond price of $410. This one here. Then for that $10, once it goes up, you've paid $10 to get a $100 increase in value up to the Ironclad. So it might be that the Ironclad itself is your objective, which is great. If not, you'll be able to save a little bit of money going up to something a bit further on. I've hedged my bets with a bunch of ships today, which we'll talk about a little later on. Given some of the announcements, things like the RV ground vehicle that they're talking about, the generalist ground vehicle, the things like the Forge that is coming up, and the Stingray, I've hedged my bets across a bunch of ships to position myself as well as I can to upgrade into one of those ships. So that's where we are with that. Yeah, so Asgard into C2 if you want to, absolutely. Drake ships only go down in value, says Stunner. Nice. Hello, Malemba and Hustlebones as well. Good to see everyone in. So yeah, there we go. Those war bonds make the Ironclad cheaper than the original pledge. Interesting, I hadn't noticed that, but there we go. So yeah, a really, really good deal for what will be a very, very popular ship. So that's where we are with that one. The other war bond of the day is the Andromeda at $20, I believe, for that one. Let's have a look. So yeah, $20 off. So 220 up to 240. Again, you can ride that. There's been a lot of things in and around that kind of area. You look at, ships like the Clipper can get you up to 150, and again, and so on and so on and so on, so that you can start chipping a lot of money away. Especially when you have a fleet where you've got some holes that maybe you're not sure about. The CCU game kind of really helps out there. And of course, there'll be people who've just been bought it outright, and that is good too. So, what we're expecting to see today, then, I've no idea what they're going to go with the war bonds. All I will say is, I hope they said that maybe some will return. I hope they don't. I hope we get a fresh bunch of war bonds, which probably means we'll see 2 returning ones, because that's how my luck works. But yeah, what we're also going to see today for the next 24 hours, starting at 1600, and every 4 hours, so that's in what, 10 minutes? And every 4 hours afterwards are the Warbond, sorry, not the Warbond, the Hull Limited ships. So ships that are only sold at specific times in specific quantities. We're going to see some of those return, and they will pop up here, no doubt. So as we get a little bit closer, I will subject you to my face once again, and we'll talk about. I'll do the mad refresh game, and we'll see if any of them survive the F5 wars to actually be available. That's the problem, is they don't seem to survive very well at all. So yeah, Bugger the Ironclad, Sister Gargoyle, I only have eyes on my Percy. I understand where you are with that. Looney Tune, just want to mention that your audio is always very quiet, can hardly hear you. I do apologise, mate. Hopefully that's a little bit more. So, the reason I have my audio down quite a bit on a regular basis, right? So I'm looking at my levels here and I'm just off of peaking according to that. Although it might be wrong, I get it, and I've just knocked the gain up slightly on the mic. The reason is I hate hearing people breathe. I hate sibilance. So like that sort of noise. I hate pops on a pop filter. So when you go and you can hear the burst of air over the mic, I hate that stuff. So my mic is about, well, it's further than that, right? So away from my mouth. I can if you want. Maybe this will help. But if you start hearing stuff like that, please, God, let me know, because I hate it, so I don't want to subject you guys to it. It's why things like talking on the mic and stuff really winds me up. But there we go. Hopefully, that's a little bit better. The Potter. Yeah, that. I am Coffee Guru. Exactly that. Cool. Interesting to see how many Hull E's sell. Yeah, I were the Hull E's coming back around for this? Because they said a selection of stock limited. I don't know if all of them were. Someone said yesterday, and then I completely forgot. Audio snub confirmed. Absolutely. It's called misophonia, right? And it's the inability to block out certain noises. So, you know, if you got that friend, I mean, maybe it's you, right? Who, when they start to hear someone eat with their mouth open, you can't block it out. You kind of hyper, like, you focus in on it. You become hyper focused on it. That. I can't block out certain noises and that sort of stuff. And it actually stops me from being able to listen. There's, I think it's called Scary Interesting. No, On the Verge. It's stories about people, it's on YouTube. Weird shout out. We went on a weird direction with this, didn't we? But it's stories about caving accidents and cave diving accidents. And it's really annoying because it's an AI voice. But I suppose to add realism, every so often they go, P-. And I listen to it when I'm tired, and it's so much worse when I'm tired. So there are stories that I got part way into, and then he started going P-, into the mic, and I had to stop. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, you just absolutely you can't do anything but tune it out. You know, people just go, well, just don't listen to it. Not an option. Not how my brain works. But there you go. Hearing people drinking their tea or coffee, yeah, the slurping. Oh my god, it's there you go. Mad Dog, Tungate. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but Mad Dog, you're loud enough. It's okay. It's not them. Good. If I've gone too loud now, tell me, because I've moved it closer and I've knocked it up a touch. So let me know. There we go. Okay, so Ruboy, welcome in. Good to see you. I have severe tinnitus. It's horrible. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. That's rubbish. But yes, anything like that will bother. So we also have a selection of patcher bundles that are back just for the remainder of IAE, we believe. But some fun in there, I think. I know certain ones were very, very popular. Obviously, this gave you a shortcut to the Geist stuff and a lot of stuff from ASD. The Elysium kind of touted, I guess, as the, what was it, the Warhammer bundle, because of the Golden Eagles and the skulls and stuff on the armor itself. So yeah, there's that. What's really interesting about this is there isn't a particular bundle that has something in for me for every ship that I have, aside from the hazard patch, because I've got the C1. Everything else, I think, there would be a skin that wouldn't be used. So I don't have the Vanguard, I don't have the Clipper, I don't have the Raft. Was it Raft or Mole in those? Either, both. I don't have the Ares, I don't have the Cutty, and I don't have the Starlancer. So it would have been a bit meh. So there we go. I bought the Grey Cat bundle. I love the armor. Which one's that? Which one's that? Which one's that? Oh, nice. Nice. And I can see why you like the armor. Yeah, that's tasty. That's good stuff. So yeah, that's where we are with all that. And of course, still in the shop for the moment, even though we can't see it here, it's not on. So still in the shop. It seems to be for the remainder of IAE within the paints itself. The best in show paints are still available. So there's the 2954. You got some of the 2953 ones, and so on, and so on, and so on. So if you still want to grab them, they are available to you should you want them. Walkerbait, Tibbs, welcome in all. What do you think the chances are of the Liberator releasing in 2026? I'm curious if it could be the Sitcon ship. They've confirmed that the Liberator is being worked on, right, in the monthly reports. So yeah, I don't see massive blockers to it, because the key blocker for it, I would suggest, if there is one left, is the idea of being able to repair, rearm, refuel. But seeing as tier 1 or tier 0, whatever you want to call it, of that, the first implementation of it is going to be them. Just you land and you do it all through your mobiGlas, just like you would do in your hangar. I don't think there's any blockers. And they will obviously, just like they have done with components, they will go and retrofit for manual repair, rearm, refuel stuff. So I think next year is not unrealistic for the Liberator at all. We'll see. Pugjob, welcome in. Good to see you. They already said the Galaxy would be released with IAE 2026, so it's that one. Of course, that's not to say that the Liberator itself doesn't become its own. I'm getting messages in the background. I'll pop that away just so it doesn't, like keep vibrating or dinging or whatever it just did. So there we go. Parker XGPS, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. It's been a while. Yeah. So there's still lots available. If you want any of this stuff, it's good to go. I've got the Acellus paint for my Prowler because it's goddamn awesome. Haven't tried the Wanderer paint yet. I had the Harmony paint a while ago, so that's in my buybacks, so I don't have to worry about that one. I am tempted with the Wanderer paint, because if you know me, you know I'm absolute mad about the Prowler. But there we go. Sitcon is not IAE. No, this is true. Makes sense. Liberator should come out during Invictus. So yeah, which it's interesting, because then when does the Ironclad come out? So maybe you've got Ironclad, you've got IAE, Sitcon, ILW, Liberator, ILW, Ironclad, Sitcon, IE, what we just said, the Galaxy. Riverdale, welcome in. Good to see you. Is Ironclad the highest SU in the game that is internally stored and landable, or am I missing something? Well, we can go and have a look if you like. So let's have a look. So there are ships. There is a ship that's just jumped to mind that is more, but it's not released yet, and it's definitely going to change, or almost definitely. I don't want to say definitely. You can't say definitely about anything in this game, but it's almost definitely going to change. So let's have a look on the matrix of fibs. Cargo capacity, let's order by that. So the Banu Merchantman sits at the top of the list at the moment at 2880. The Javelin says 5,400. This is the one that I think is going to change. I don't think the Merchantman is going to. The Javelin is going to keep what it's got. You've then got the Ironclad. You've got the Idris, but that is lower than the Ironclad, and for some reason, the Ironclad doesn't appear on here. I think they have updated the cargo capacities now, right? Yeah, so that's right. 2204 was the updated one, right? So there's that, and then the Kraken, exactly as Ashra says, the Kraken didn't show up either. So let's have a look at the Kraken. So the Kraken also sits above the Ironclad. So hopefully, Riverdale, that answers that question. So there we go. Idris and Jav showed out already. Oh, is it changed over? Is it? In that case, let's go and have a look. We'll come back to the funding stuff. We didn't even get there. Let's have a look. Finale. This is. Oh, is it just the finale page and it's changed over? Okay. So, Ares Ion, Mole, and then you've got the hull limited ships. So the Hully is gone. Obviously, the news didn't upset people enough. We've got the Idris, gone. We've got the Javelin, gone. I don't know why any of this surprises me. We got the Kraken, gone. Obviously, the Privateer's gone. That's going to happen. The Pioneer's gone. Yeah. Oh, no. Ooh. Who wanted the Pioneer? No, it's not. Look, it's limited stock. It's not sold out. Go. Click it. Buy it. Sorry, I'm just being silly. Click it. Do it. Oh, shit. Well, it was there, right? It was there. It was there. We all saw that, right? That was there. You can go back in the video and you can see that it actually said limited stock. But there we go. So hopefully, the bot wars didn't remove it for everyone, and maybe just maybe, a couple people out there got the Pioneer that they've been after for a while. So yeah, I can only hope. But that's where we are with that. So I'm going to go back a little bit. Excuse me while I muck around just for a moment. So I'm going to refresh this now. So we're going to put us back on the same page. Because I ordered the tabs nicely and then just didn't get to talk to the funding. And that was that. So Ares Ion, I'm guessing $20 off of that one. Nope, 15. I was too optimistic. Too optimistic. Stop it, badgers. You're bad. So there we go. So 235 up to 250. Okay. It's, yeah, all right. If you really want one, and it's the Ion as well, is the other bit that might not be that. Ion or Stinger. So, I mean, it depends what you're fighting, right? The Ion is not intended as a dogfighter, and the Stinger is just in a rough place, like most heavy fighters right now. So there we go. And then the Mole. Let's see where we sit with this. What's the sitch here? $20, $25 maybe. $25. So not the worst thing out there. I just got nothing to go really up to it like that. Particularly close. Doesn't sit nicely in a chain anyway. So, or it might do. I'm going to have a look and figure it out, obviously, because, you know. So there we go. Wiggy, welcome in. Jockcop, good to see you, my friend. Grey Nomadic, Oh my God, Grey Nomad UK. I'm really sorry. I butchered that. You didn't deserve that at all. That was my mistake. You had your chance. Yeah, exactly. Well, shockingly enough, not for me, but yeah. Ta-da! So, that's those, and then obviously all of these sold out. There was some comment, I think, on my video about someone thought that the Hully had been removed, and I pointed out it was hull limited. And they were like, no, normally it just says sold out. I was like, well, not if it's not their day to sell anymore. But obviously it wasn't removed from sale because it's straight back in again. And funnily enough, it sold out instantly. So there we go. No 890 jump in these waves, I guess. Apparently not. So there we go. Again, I'd be interested to see just how much money they've made out of the first hour. Speaking of money, in a nice segue into that, let's have a look at where they were today with everything. So yesterday, kind of as expected, right? When you're only selling CCUs, the thing is yes, people could warbond the hull, as in the Ironclad, right? The ship. So that's often how I talk about it. You either get the CCU or the hull referring to a ship. I know. I know I'm confusing you guys. It makes sense in my head. Right, and that's what matters, obviously, on a YouTube channel. As long as I know what I'm talking about, who cares? So, you can actually buy the ship itself and warbond it. So you could have got it for $410. But it's no big shock that they didn't make huge amounts of money. It looks like they made about, well, I say didn't make huge amounts of money. Comparatively, they still had a really good day compared to some actual kind of release days within the. It looks like they beat the Consolidated Outland Kruger kind of thing. Hey, Luna, good to see you. Marco Polo, welcome in. Yeah, there we go. So can you melt your best in show ships and still get the paints as long as you do it after? So they have to be in your account at the end of IAE, is my understanding, and there is actually a post about it on here. So we'll go and have a look at it in just a second. I try to stay off Spectrum as much as I can. But there we go. Yeah, one more wave of Warbonds tomorrow, so there's that. We'll find out. So, yep, not a bad bit of money there. Again, you know, kind of obviously the last minute panic buy. I contributed over here. This is where I bought all my Warbond stuff. Well, not Warbond. I bought my upgrades. I did get an Ironclad Warbond, but only from a C2, so it was only $10. But we'll talk about that in a sec. We'll have a look at the rest of my fleet in just a moment. But what a couple of weeks for them. Basically, just shy of, and with today certainly breaching the 30 mil mark in 2 weeks. That's not bad going. Not bad going at all. So just to confirm then, through the IE, should I note that one? No, I didn't mean to go there, did I? I wanted to go there instead. So here we go, best in show prizes. So, if you have one of these fine ships in your hangars, you'll earn their respective best in show paint. So there we go. You'll get the in-game posters. Every backer will receive an exclusive Polaris Championship pennant. So you'll get the paint for it anyway. So again, yay, free stuff. Okay. So all of these items will be distributed at the end. To be eligible to receive the paints, the ships must be in your hangar. Being in your buybacks list won't grant you the best in show paints. Okay. So you need the specific ship, not a variant. Okay, and then the best in show editions only contain the goodies within that ship's package and will not grant an additional copy of the rewards. Okay. So there we go. There we go. And so this is, again, not dogpiling people in chat, but I've got to read this out because it doesn't make sense, right? Why are you selling the old best in show paints? It was a way to say we were here. Now everyone can get them. Nice, CRG. What a way to reward long-term players. Okay, a couple of things here. He's arguing that FOMO is, or they are arguing that FOMO is a good thing. Right? Also, you don't have to play at all. You just have to have the ship in your hangar. So the people getting it, some of them won't have played at all. At all. There'll be people who own a lot of best in show paints who won't have played at any point during having best in show. Look at the Redeemer. Look at how old that is. So, yeah, I'm sorry. This is just yeah. Yeah. So there we go. And here we go. And this is the ridiculous. Really, is it that big of a slap of face? Yes, it is. New player. Like, again, don't dogpile, but what an idiot. So yes, there's that. Okay, so back to the funding fun. There we go. We've already got some money coming in, but by the end of this month, we were up to whatever money that is. It was a 32 mil done throughout November with everything else going on there as well. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of money going on. We're up to 140 mil. 150 mil doesn't look like a bad goal. After all, I said it might not go that high. Clearly, it very well might. But Just looking through, I think the only month that didn't do as well as a previous one is the October for this versus October in 2023. They got 15 mil there. We got 12 mil this year. I think every other month has been an increase over previous 6 mil versus 6 mil again. But that one was actually over 6 mil. This one was just shy of 6 mil. So 5946208. So yeah, craziness. And we can see here, so the total citizens, you know, coming out of August was 5.869 million. Coming out of this month was 6.115 million. And that might be accounts and stuff, but yeah, there we go. That doesn't mean players necessarily, that's a count. But yes, there we go. Rescue Shek, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Certified search and rescue legend in the chat, boys and girls. That's really cool. Welcome in, mate. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So exclusivity make people feel special, I guess. I'd rather people get the cool skins. Exactly that. So yeah, best in skins available for people, which is good. Free star kitten curated accounts. I don't want to talk about star kitten. Just another bait and switch by CIG. What's that in terms of the paints? I mean, I'm not massively. I just can't get excited about it in terms of people feeling upset. It's FOMO, right? It's arguing that stuff should remain exclusive is FOMO. If it were things that people had to do stuff for, then I would get it. If it were things that people had to, you know, they were bought it told that it was only. So, for example, the armor that was given out at the end of the resource drive stuff, whichever faction won, you got that armor and the other ones won't see the light of day. That sort of stuff, to make that available on the store, would be a little bit shitty. Of course, there's that armor in other colours, but to do ArcCorp Crusader, Hurston, Microtech would be shitty. And that, I think people would, at that point, be like, well, hang on a second, you told us that this was going to be exclusive. And we actually had to do something for it. It wasn't just a case of own the ship, get the thing. So yeah. But anyway, we've kind of talked about that one for a bit. So bound to happen that these skins and gear will become available at some point, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, this is the other thing, is people keep forgetting that line in all of CIG stuff, whereas anything we sell will be available later on in game. So it's going to happen anyway, right? Agreed, those missions were a grind. Yeah, exactly that. Jambo Tech, welcome in. Wasteland, good to see you. And I saw another one. Hancock Design Studio. Did they finally hit the 1 billion mark? No, they haven't. They are at. Let's go back very, very quickly. So, oh, no, wrong one. We are at 915 mil. So it'll be midpoint next year. We'll hit 100. We'll hit 1 billion. So there we go. Ta-da! There we go. Right, so that's that. We've had our ship sale. So this is where we are then with my fleet at the end of IAE. Just thought I'd show you through this whilst we're talking IAE stuff. So no change, no additional ships following previous. So Wolf and Alpha Wolf, the models aren't available yet. So there's that. And the Cutlass representing the Clipper. So that's my fleet. Those are all ships in my account. And just in case you can't see them down here, we got the Medevac, the Pulse, MPUV Tractor, Atlas, Normal, and the Sulen, Pisces, Terrapin Medic. Okay, that's what's sitting in the fleet. That's what's available in my sub terminal. Now, there have been a couple of additions, just a couple, to my CCU chain. So what we're saying here is I have a Freelancer to Red, to Vulture, to Taurus, to Vulcan. Okay, so we don't talk about that, Pug. We don't talk about that. That doesn't sit in there. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. I'm gonna refuse to admit that it even exists, and I don't care. So there we go. So the additions then are kind of focused up here. Okay, so for those that remember at the beginning of this, I said Cutty Red to Holby. I had two that were store credit. And the thing about store credit is that you can't gift them. In other words, you can't sell them on. Okay. What I'm gonna do is what I have done is I've now bought an additional new money Cutlass Red to Holby. So that CCU I can sell, and then all of the rest of these are new money. With the exception of the Pulse to MPUV personnel. I need that for something specific. We'll talk about that later. So I've got a Terrapin Medic to the Raylan to lock the Raylan in at its current price. Send to the Hull A to do the same for the Hull A. C2 to Ironclad, because the C2 is always available. So if I want the Ironclad, I've just got to get myself to the C2. And then it's the Alpha Wolf, I think it is, the 121 up to the Raft. So actually, that little bundle was about $22. Okay, because $4.50, $4.50, $4.50, $9.50, something like that. So no, C2 I think is available all the time. It's the other ones. It's the other ones that are hull limited. I'm pretty sure C2 is. Let's find out, shall we? Star Citizen C2 available always ? Oh, it might not be then. But I mean, even so, like, it's nice and easy to get it. And again, I'm not bothered about the Ironclad. So good spot there, but I'm not bothered about the Ironclad. So it's not like I need it right when it comes out, right? I don't know if anyone's seen the Discord link in the description below, but when you do post your fleet stuff, there are more than enough Ironclad sat in there. If I need to borrow one, I'll borrow one for a video or whatever. So there we go. Not hiding, just refusing to admit that it exists. It's just not there. It's not a thing. So that's what the rest of my fleet look like, or the rest of my CCUs, sorry, look like. So I've got CCUs up to the Endeavour ×2, one up to the Crucible, and these are all from the Starfire Gemini. Gemini to Valkyrie, Valkyrie to Galaxy, Prowler to 600i, Carrack all the way through to Polaris, and then these chains. What's different about these chains is that for this one I actually have the ship. So that should just be tagged on to the end of the Spirit that's actually in my account. Because I've been interested in the Vulcan, as you can see, I've got a separate chain in case I need it. And I've got the Medevac, because I was interested in that, although much less so now that they've done what they've done with drones. And I am beginning to think, given the fact that I have an Ursa Medevac, a C8R, and a Terrapin Medic, I might be covered. Sure, there's no Tier 1 medbed, but I'll manage. So there we go. No worries, Calco. You're all good, my friend. Prime King, welcome in, buddy. So there you go. My CCU chains are a mess right now, so Wiggy, but I have a clear path to 600i and Corsair to Orion. Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of... So what was going to happen was there were a couple more steps from the Medevac up, but it was going to take us basically from that to that and then down to the Reclaimer. Obviously, the Reclaimer's now in my account, which is why it started to get fragmented and all that sort of stuff, and why there's a Prowler in there, because of course I can just potentially go to the Prowler rather than this. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. So lots of basically speculative CCUs in and of this sort of stuff. I mean, even with the MPUV personnel, I don't really want the ship other than for this specific purpose I have in mind for it, that once it's done, that'll be it. The ships that I'm still very much interested in owning out of this, the Vulcan for sure, the Medevac kinda. I've got the Perseus, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. And the Endeavour. The rest of this is speculative. Because what I've got kind of here, basically, is a $40 CCU chain from a Carrack up to a Polaris. And that might be something that I end up selling. You know, and the point is here is that these aren't limited, so it's not scalping. These have been available. The point that I'm keeping a couple of these is I won't sell it at its value. Obviously, I won't make people pay $300 for it, or whatever it is, $375 to go up. They will get a considerable saving on what it would be, and I'll make some money back on it because I grabbed it. Teapot, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. So there we go. 2 seconds. So I'm trying to find the source for you, Hustle. What I have found at the moment is this, right? So I just put this in a search, and I'm sure in here there'll be links to it and whatever else. Okay, but it basically says this. Has a long-standing principle that everything available in the Pledge Store will also be attainable in-game through gameplay. This policy is fundamental to the game's design, which intended to be a balanced MMO where players can earn all content without needing to spend real money after the initial game purchase. So there you go. And I'm sure within the links in there somewhere, it will have that statement. But that is it within the wiki? Because if it is, if it's in here, that I hope there should be a source to it, right? But yeah, there you go. No pay to win. You should never be able to buy anything with real money that you can't buy with in-game credits. Chris Roberts. Great. And that's because they keep removing his posts. But you get the point, right? So there we go. So there we are. That's that one. But that's where I am with the fleet. I'm quite happy with where it is at the moment. You know, kind of the ships that I'm very interested in next year. The Forge is probably the one that stands out the most for me. I'll be interested to see what the Stingray looks like. I'll be interested to see what the RV vehicle looks like. But if it is the size we're expecting, something like the size of the Spartan, then I don't have anything to carry it right now. So it will be a, you know, potentially a nice to earn. Depending on its price, it could be something that ends up sat in my account as a separate vehicle, you know, just to sit there and be as it needs to be, that sort of stuff. So yeah, there we go. So there we go. I like how Lando stressed multiple times in lots of ship talk that available in game doesn't miss an in-game store. Yeah, absolutely that. What do we know about the Forged Jamotech? There was an interesting bit said in that video actually from Star Citizen, right? That from CIG. That ship talk, lots of ship talk video actually had it in there. I'm going to go load it up and see if there's a specific reference to it, which is why you just heard it momentarily. But you know, people are helpful and time stamp stuff. So yeah, I'm going to see if we can find. If anyone knows the timestamp from that video, if you want to fire it, just while I'm reading through, because me sat here reading this is not necessarily the best bit of gameplay. It says the next year's ships listing the manufacturers. Was that it? Or was that just they talked about it before then? I can't remember. Can't remember. Caterpillar and Ironclad, Generalist, Clipper, Bonus, Clipper, Salvation, Galaxy, Perseus. Maybe it is that. Maybe it is that. Let's find out.
We revealed that an Aurora Mark II is going to come.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
fall into that trap. Yeah,
I'm getting confused.
Raylan.
Raylan is coming. Raylan is coming next year.
Parasite module. Command module, which implies
Okay,
Ironclads.
well, no, because you said the command module will come alongside the Ironclad.
Yeah.
And so if you just said the command module is going to come next year,
No, we didn't say it was coming next year. We just said what we confirmed.
but John just said,
I just said it.
you just said the command module.
I'll go say everything.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. It will be quiet.
This is what happens when we
There
don't
we
do a show in a while. I forget how these things work. Let's go ahead. Let's not reveal the entire ship list of 2026 because people like no
one's interested in that.
People like to
I enjoy
people like to
watching the
talk
videos.
and people like to. But let's give. I hit the content. I hit some of the content creators at the beginning.
You can hear
of the show.
We're trying to find the
people who
forge.
do
What are they working on?
What is it called when they do the watch?
Oh,
when they
watch
do
parties, like
No, not watch party. It's not a party.
Co-streaming.
No, when they sit there and they
Highlights?
react videos. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. Let's give people. Let's give them something to react to that they can feed the beast because they do wonderful service for our project and get the game out and stuff like this. Let's reveal the manufacturers of every ship in 2026 because we know what the schedule
I
is.
hope someone's got the list.
Let's reveal the
Releasing or working on?
releasing.
Two different.
Just the manufacturers of the releasing ships in 2026.
Drake.
Yep.
Aegis.
RSI.
Aegis. Yep. Did you say RSI?
Yep.
RSI.
Anvil.
Yes.
Misk.
Yes. A Misk ship.
Oh,
Next year.
Kruger.
Kruger is
Yep.
getting another ship.
What else we got?
Grays.
Grays is getting another ship.
Origin.
Origin is back. Origin is back with another
8
ship
at
next
least,
year.
right?
Gatak.
Gatak has another ship next year.
I think. Oh. Your favorite color?
Oh, Argo.
No, he means Grey Cat. And Grey Cat.
And Grey Cat.
Grey Cat's getting a vehicle next year. So those are the.
That's a
I'm
lot.
pretty confident those are the.
I'm trying to go
manufacturers.
rack my brain. These
Yeah.
questions hurt me.
Yeah. So those are the manufacturers who
many.
are releasing new ships in 2026, and immediately people are like,
No, it wasn't. We noticed that at the time.
Consolidated Outland, forgot again. No Crusader, boo.
Oh, there is no
We're not
Crusader.
Why do you hate
Crusader, I don't
Crusader,
think.
Ben?
I love Crusader.
Yeah, those are just the ones we're releasing on.
Those are just the releases, not the ones that are being worked on.
There are other manufacturers being worked on.
Yep.
Imply from that what you wish.
Revealed a new. Let's just push our luck. It revealed that there's going to be another Kruger ship. This is not another Wolf variant. You want to. Let's give him the name. Let's give him the name. And let him speculate.
I'm suddenly panicking that this is it's the Stingray.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Sorry, I was
This is
supposed to
where he
look
gives
at
the
working
wrong
titles.
name.
We have some
Nope.
quite interesting working
Stingray.
titles.
Yeah, we do.
No. So the Stingray will be the name of the next Kruger ship some point next year, and people can guess. People can speculate.
Argo
what that
this
is.
as well, yeah.
And then let's
Argo and Grey Cat.
end on a high note. This is IAE. We're about to go into the finale. The finale where I think all the ships come back and whatnot. The big ship for IAE this year was the Perseus. I mean, it was always like a big ship. The big ship for Fleet Week this year was the Idris. What was the big ship for IAE last year?
They said the Kruger was the
Polaris.
Stingray.
Oh, the big ship for IAE last year is the Polaris. Go ahead. Let's let John do this.
I was going to say I'm backing out of this
Let's go to
conversation
John's
right now.
camera.
We can't get told
Let's
off.
go
if John
ahead
does
and
it.
tell people what the big ship for IAE is next year.
The big ship planned for next IE is the RSI Galaxy. There you go. There you go. Just like we said.
There we
were
go.
gonna
So
do
the
RSI
Forge isn't in here, but
ships in a series.
from what they said about the Galaxy, about the Forge, was that it had ground extractors. Ground extractors. Yeah, that. So that's going to be cool. And they said it looks really, really good. But there's going to be the refinery stuff and crafting and ground extractors. So yeah, that's going to be cool. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that deployed into the verse. Really interested in where that goes, and I think that's why, like, I've kind of got a smattering of CCUs here. We've got a smattering of values. We've got, you know, the ability to step off at the whatever it is, 875 mark. Is that where we are with that? 800, right? The 800 mark, the 975 mark, although you can't go really anywhere from the the Polaris, because you can't CCU to ships that are $1,000 or more. So, yeah. Basically, if it comes out between 975 and 1,000, I can have it. I can CCU to it from the Polaris. But yeah, good luck with that, right? What a niche. We've got the Ironclad, which is going to be somewhere north of 450. We know when it releases. Raft, wherever that ends up. Raylan, wherever ends up that. A ridiculous number of hull Bs just because. We've got the Medevac sitting there at 290. We've got the Vulcan at 200. We've got the Valkyrie as a partial chain there. What's that? 375, is that right? 375? That's right. Whatever. Just whatever. I don't know. Let's go view offers. Let's find out where my bits and pieces here are. So let's go to all ships. Yes, 375 for the Valk. There you go. So yeah, not a bad kind of split. Kind of, I guess, what do they call it? Not a splash, not a stretch. Why is this word so hard? But not a fair smattering of ships with different values that'll allow me to go anywhere. Obviously, Galaxy will then go up in price when that gets released. Obviously, it needs the modules, but that's where we go. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with where my ships are sitting at the moment. And the Prowler is to the Explorer, not the Prowler to the Touring, because there are such things as spread. Thank you, Pug. Thank you very much. Not a bad spread. Jesus, like my brain. It's been a long old IAE with this and other things that are going on. So yeah, John 769, welcome in, buddy. Arastra is a good chance for 2027, but only if we finally get refinery gameplay. Stephen Smith, welcome in, and to everyone else that's made it in that I haven't said hello to, welcome in. Good to see you. Something said at the end was that they were doing the RSI in a series. Yeah, so there's lots of bits and pieces there, and I'm sure the Forge is in there somewhere. It's just not particularly well kind of time-stamped. So there we go. I have to ask, what will you do with all these ships? Is it for the org or sell on grey market after release? Do you know what? Good question. So I intend to earn a lot of ships in game. There are certain ones that I kind of wanted to have from the outset, and that's where we are now, right? So if I go back to, there we go. So there's a couple of things in here. The Perseus is the ship that I've always wanted. I was going to own that regardless of whatever else I owned. The Reclaimer is in a very similar vein. I really like that for group non-combat gameplay. The ability to revolve around the different stations so you're not doing the same thing day in, day out. Wanted that. Hauler, medical/bunker ship. Go smash stuff in the face with the org ship. Daily driver. Shuttle, and I think there's some use for the shuttle. There's my solo go earn money stuff. That's a referral token that I can't melt, so I've got to be careful with it. That's why it's on that line by itself up there. And the Intrepid is a game package. And because I don't have anything else to do with that, A, the Intrepid is growing on me. B, I'm going to wait to see what news happens in terms of NPC crew and that sort of stuff. If there is a link between NPC crew and game packages, I might well want to keep that. These ships, not sure. They may end up being store credit for other things. Prowler utility, great dungeoning ship at the moment. Fighter. Clipper is the generalist, and that's more a content thing at the moment. So that's why I have that smattering of ships. I fully intend to earn other ships in game. So it'll be ships like potentially the larger ones. So I might earn up to an Idris and make that kind of like one of my end game things to do. The Prowler itself, I really like it. Don't want to get it here. I have a feeling the Banu Merchantman might be something else that I'll earn up to in game. And they'll just be those sorts of things that I want. So there's basically, for day one, I've got a number of combat options. I've got a number of medical options. I've got gameplay options, basically, from day one here on out. So yeah, that's the purposes of that fleet there. There is no, I don't know what you're talking about, Malemba. I don't know what you're talking about. So there we go. Wiggy, thank you very much for being here, mate. Sleep well, and I'll see you soon. So yeah, I wonder if any of the manufacturers mentioned is making a salvager smaller than a reclaimer. Yeah, so there's definitely a gap in the matrix for a mole-sized salvager, 100%. 100%. And they basically mentioned it in that YouTube video. They mentioned that there's the, across the top you've got all the different gameplay loops, and then down the side you've got all the different sizes. So extra small, and then you've even got like different types of ones. So you've got different bits. So you've got like alien, and then you've got starter. So you got like we had small prospector, and small vulture, but then you go, well, okay, yes, but then there's starter golem, starter salvation. So there's a lot of different categories, and they've even said at the moment there's not even a tick in each box to say yes, there's a small salvager, medium salvager, large salvager, capital salvager. And even when that's done, they said even that they want competitors in those categories as well. So once they filled everything out, there will be competitors for all of the ships out there, which is really exciting. So I want to know what a Perseus competitor looks like. All the guns. So that's going to be cool. So yeah, industrial, that sort of stuff. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly that, Hustle. And do you know what? One of the most worrying bits of advice I hear people being given is buy big and earn down. Now, obviously, there is a logic to that because that's how games work. However, that doesn't mean it's going to work for every individual player. Take this thing, for example, right? Take the Reclaimer. The issue that I'm going to find with the Reclaimer, I think, is you take it out, you've got to find something big enough and worthy enough of doing that, right? When you're in your mole, or when you're in your your prospector, what you're not doing necessarily, or you might be doing this, the money that you can earn stopping off and mining Aphorite by hand just because you pick it up on the scan is nothing compared to the money you can get of finding quant rocks or whatever else, right? It's going to be same Reclaimer. Of course, it could stop and scoop up every little thing, but it's not going to be a particularly quality setup. And, you're going to look at the bigger ships because maybe you want to salvage the components on there. There's going to be more fuel to siphon, whatever else. And bigger ships means more time investment. So you need to go in, you need to break in, you need to take the doors out, you need to evacuate the components out of the ship. Which is all going to take time. Bigger ships are going to take longer to search. They're going to take longer to get the components out. You got more doors to bust through. There's more stuff to put away. Then you scrape the ship, which is going to take time, and then you can deconstruct the ship and whatever the drones are doing in that time as well, right? For someone who can only say, hey, look, I've got a young family, I can only play like for an hour, 90 minutes at a time, owning a Reclaimer or a whole D or E clearly is not going to work for that player. That's why I don't like the buy big and earn down. I think the buy big and earn down is just as individual to each player as which ship you're going in the first place. So there we go. Ta-da. There we go. So yeah, lots of fun available in CCUs. And the other thing I like about the CCUs, mucking around with it, is you don't need huge amounts of money. Like I said, these ships here were all secured for less than $25. And yes, I don't have them, I don't have everything up to a C2. I don't have everything up to a Reliant, but you can see in here, if I start melting ships, right? if I start melting some of these, I will very rapidly get in there. That's not going to be melted full stop the end. That's not going to be melted full stop the end. Okay, they are my ships. I've wanted them ever since I first clapped eyes on them, and that has never changed. That can't be melted, neither can that, because they're referral bonuses. So they can only go upwards in value. And it's the nice thing about having those. Let's say I get the Vulcan, and it's like, oh my god, this is my favourite gameplay loop in the entire game. What I can do is take those parts of the chain out, start here, and go Vulture to Connie Taurus to Vulcan. Yeah. So there's that. Asgard to C2. Yeah, very potentially. So what I can do then, what I would do with that is pick up the Warbonds something to Asgard. And then, because the Asgard's not going to change in price because it's released and the C2's price stable because it's been out forever, I then get the Asgard to C2 CCU whenever I feel like. Welcome in, SMG. Good to see you, my friend. Yes, I'm finding I do not have the personal time to captain big ships and somewhat regret funding the large ships I pledged. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you regret funding them, mate. Obviously, there are always options to get your money out if you want to, or at least some return on your investment should you desire it. You know, there we go. Exactly that, Malemba. Yeah, that's what I'll have a look at a little bit later on. The other ones that I've seen, what were they today? I can't even remember what the other one was. The mole. They don't strike me. Now I might find a place in a chain for it, but right. I'm not going to go over the top on this. It's coming up to Christmas. I've got enough to spend money on, right? But that's where we go. So, yeah, an interesting one. Not as impressive, I would say, for me, although for some people they're going to be sat there and going, those are just the sorts of CCUs that sit really well in my chain. And for those people, I'm really pleased. So there we go. And yeah, obviously sold a huge amount because, or, they will have got a very significant first hour because Hully, Idris P, Javelin, Kraken, Privateer, and the Pioneer. What was really interesting was we clicked on the Pioneer last after they went up and I didn't see it go up immediately. And the Warbond was still limited stock for a moment. So Pioneer not selling out last of all of these, which is interesting. I think a lot of people at the moment are interested in the Pioneer, especially given it's that crafting will precede base building, we believe. And especially seeing as there seems to be a significant drive on base building at the moment, alongside crafting. So Marcus says, currently I hold on to the Endeavours and my Polaris. If I later dislike them in-game, I can sell them to the game for in-game capital, so there is that. So there we go. All right. Buy big and down is fine for an org, says Blamsmith. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. For individual players, it's very context sensitive. So I only have one ship, so I'm not melting that. You've also gone for like the biggest mining ship in the game, Calco. So, you might want to consider like some sort of starter to earn enough money to be able to fuel that thing to take it out, right? Just saying. That's not me trying to sell you a ship. I'm just saying that the Orion might not be the best thing to take out. First one. I'm Coffee Guru, not in an org, but just love the idea of flying around with big ships. That. Yep. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to, doing some stuff. The DGP org, again, link if you want to go find us on Spectrum or through the website. We are DWGP, Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Unfortunately, someone's got DGP and they didn't respond to my request. I said, would you mind giving it to me and I'll trade it off you. But no. So there we go. Black Mage says, I bought big with the Ironclad and the Orion so I could go do org ops and large hauling contracts, but I really believe in the Iron Up strategy. Yeah. Will blades work on all turrets, only remote turrets? Is there a limit, etc., etc.? We got questions, CIG. Yeah, and I think at the moment, genuinely, they don't have the answers for you. I don't think they know precisely how that's gonna play out, so they can't answer, and that's why they don't go into it that much. That's why, you know, the talk around things like blades and stuff is very carefully curated by CIG. So yeah, that's where we go. Due to the popularity of the Clipper, do you think we'll see variations like they did with the Cutter? I don't know, because the problems with variations of it, it becomes specialized, right, by the nature of a variation. So maybe, I guess they could milk that hull if they wanted to. That ship, I used the hull thing again. They can milk that ship, but potentially. Pioneer Hully Orion sitting waiting for release, says Hencorp. Nice. So yeah, Blamsmith, you can always use the command module to do 1.8 SCU delivery missions to earn up. I mean, I would have to say probably not recommended. I'm just saying. I'm not doing anything rude. I'm cleaning my glasses. So there we go. I had no idea how dirty glasses got till I got my own, and now they're just minging. But there we go. You have no friends with starter ships. I've got a few. That's what the Golem is for. Nice. Jared did mention the PDTs on Star Citizen Live, and that's basically the same thing. Yeah, so they have... So the thing with PDTs, of course, is they are on and off. They have two states, right? They're either on and all the rules are in place for them, or they're off and it doesn't matter. The problem with Blades is I think people are going to want a little bit more control than that. They're going to want to be able to designate targets for them, give them target priority, and that's the bit that doesn't exist, right? Especially when they talked about the different colours of having, like, they're in a hostile org, but they're not actually hostile, versus it's an actively hostile vessel, versus neutral, versus affiliated org, friend, own org. You know, they've got all these statuses, and I would imagine they'll want you to be able to, or we will want to be able to assign sort of priority and that sort of stuff. So I think Blades are going to be a little bit more complex than just kind of like the PDTs. The act of shooting at something, they've got down. It's everything else that goes on top of that. It's switching, you know, because they're either on or off, the power state on, power state off. There's a lot more to it. Oh God, more keybinds. Yeah, that. So there we go. In my opinion, too much emphasis is placed on ship progression in general. The point of the game is to play it, not buy more ships. Yeah, absolutely. And it's you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, there are ships for which you'll look at and go, I would love to own that at some point, but I don't love it enough to throw money at it. So that's obviously an earning game, but I don't think the object of the game should be any sort of completionist, I own every ship. People will, of course, go for that, but that's not my gameplay loop. Certainly not. So there we go. Yeah, interesting. Sold out. I wonder, do people kind of hold them or sell them and then like immediately give them back? I don't know. I guess it's just botted, right? If people don't get them themselves, the bots will hoover them up. Or more to the point, if the bots don't get them, people will hoover them up. Although precisely what the evidence for botting is and to the extent to which botting happens, not sure. So, there we go. I just want a fishing shack on a lake somewhere. Yeah, cabin in the woods gets mentioned a lot. I just want a cabin in the woods somewhere. Little clearing I can land my ship. Cabin in the woods. Little lake to fish in. Like, and that's it. Just join the game to be join a massively multiplayer to be antisocial. Like it. It takes all sorts, right? So there we go. Yeah, they can't even iron out the friend and foe system, so players may be a little off. Exactly that. Precisely that. We're already seeing issues where, for some reason, ships in the same party, one goes red to the other, and then they're attacked by other ships in the same party. Derp. So there we go. I don't know about that. The problem is with anything like that, with like taking planets or blockading or building space stations, there's a lot of coordination. At the end of the game, for me, this is still just a game, albeit one I've decided to build a YouTube channel around and really enjoy. And you know, I'm really excited for it. And I think once this thing finally comes out and is released anywhere near what I'm hoping, it will eat my life whole and then ask for seconds. You know, it's just that level of coordination in the game is probably still a little bit above what I'm willing to give to it right now. So yeah, there we go. Back to work for you, Wastelander. Have a good one. Thank you, Badges, for the live. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in, mate. Have a good day. Oh, a good rest of your day back at work, evening, morning, whatever it is. Take care of yourself, buddy, and I'll see you soon. Awesome. That's where we are then. So, Ares Ion, specifically the Ion, if the Ion is your thing. Mole, if the Mole is your thing, I'm going to go away now and have a look at my chains and try and figure out what the hell I'm doing, and maybe I'm going to buy a couple more Warbonds. We shall see. But it's been awesome to catch up with you all. Thank you very much for being in. We will go live, of course, again tomorrow to have a look at the final Warbonds, and then maybe we'll talk then about whether or not I go live for the final change, as in back to normal. And we do some sort of review. Maybe there we can talk about what's coming in 4.5 and what we think, if anything, the ship that will or will not be coming in December, what ship that might be. That'll be an interesting chat, right? Maybe. Oh, no. Oh, no. What's he done? What's he done? I don't know what I've done. Well, I've definitely broken something, so that's fun. Oops. I don't know what I've done now. That was fun. Right, there we go. I'm back to this anyway, so we're all good. Sorry, I properly broke it there, didn't I? There we go. Engineering, armor, fire, physicalized helmets. Lots of stuff coming in the next patch, and it's all worth talking about. So that's going to be really, really cool. There we go. Thank you, guys. It's been fun. Just a short one today, but obviously it's just a couple of Warbonds and some stock limited ships. Good luck if you want your stock limited ships and you're not getting them. And remember, there is a video up. If you're interested in bringing your ships home and having them on your desk in front of you, go check out my video. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. That's the one that went up on Saturday. Bring your ships home, something like that. Taking your ships home. Have a look. If you haven't already, it's well worth a watch. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.